Hi, this is Don McAllister, and welcome to another weekly tip video. Except this week it's not really a tip video, it's a first look at the brand new Apple M1 chip. Now, I'm sure by now you've had a chance to check out the Apple event, and I won't go into too much detail, but this is the slide that was produced describing the capabilities of the M1. So such things as a 16-core neural engine, up to 8-core GPU and an 8-core CPU. And this new unified memory architecture, which is built into the system on a chip. And this is either 8 gigabytes or 16 gigabytes of memory, which being on the chip should ensure significant performance improvements. But as well as the increase in performance, the chip is extremely efficient, leading to, industry-leading performance per watt, which should extend battery life significantly. So in this tip video, I'm not going to do an in-depth review of the MacBook Air or focus on the benchmarks on performance or battery life. There are plenty of videos on YouTube that do that already. Instead, I'll cover my initial thoughts and impressions after using a brand new MacBook Air with Apple M1 that I've had for a few days. So this is the slide from the Apple event that extolled the virtues of the new MacBook Air. It's basically the same physical design as the previous MacBook Air with some subtle differences. We now have 2 Thunderbolt ports. It has Touch ID built in. There are some changes to the function keys, so they now include Spotlight and Dictation as function key options. But physically, it's pretty much identical to the previous version. As this is a replacement for my wife's aging MacBook Pro, I've gone with the 8GB version with 256 SSD, which should be ample for her needs. But we'll take a look at the performance as we go through the screencast. So this is the MacBook Air running the Apple M1 chip. And let me just show you something. Just the very first thing to start off. My initial impressions are it is actually very, very competent, very fast. Let me just go ahead and open up every application on the dock and just see what happens. And there we go. We have all those applications opened, and I can switch to any application pretty much instantaneously. And they're all working perfectly. If I go across to, say, Final Cut Pro, there's Final Cut Pro with a 4K video project in here. Now, bearing in mind, this machine is the lowest spec MacBook Air with just 8 gigabytes of memory and 256 gig SSD. It really is impressive, the speed at which you can open the applications, but also hold them in memory and switch between them. Obviously, it's using lots of tricks that it's, not so much tricks, but it's learned from the architecture of the iPad of storing applications in memory and switching to them very, very quickly. So this is both due to the performance of the chip, but also to the speed of the SSD drive as well. But let me close this down and let me just switch to a couple of graphics to show you the comparative speed of the SSD with some of the other machines that I have. So this is just a graphic, a screen capture of using the standard Blackmagic design disk speed test available on the Mac App Store. So on my brand new M1 MacBook Air, as you can see, the write speed is an incredible 2,182.8 megabits per second. And the read speed is even more impressive, 2,726 megabits per second. Now compare that with my relatively older machine, the 2016 dual-core i7 MacBook Pro. You'll see that the write speed is only 1,311 on that drive, and the read speed is 2,293. So quite a significant boost both in reading and writing for the MacBook Air SSD. Now, if we compare that with my iMac Pro, which, well, again, it's still 3 years old, but it was a very expensive machine. I think it was around about £4,000 or £5,000 compared to the £999 of the MacBook Air. You'll see that it is slightly faster in writing, but it's actually slower in reading. So it's only 2,421 megabits per second on the iMac Pro, whereas on the MacBook Air, it's 2,726 megabits per second. So quite an impressive speed boost over here on the MacBook Air. That's just a quick preview of one of this week's Apple-related tutorials from Screencasts Online. Screencasts Online is your premium source of Apple-related video tutorials. All of our members get access to brand new, up-to-date tutorials each week, as well as unlimited access to our entire video archive full of Mac and iOS related tutorials. You can stream and download all of our videos on your Mac, iPad and iPhone, and even your Apple TV using the members-only Screencasts Online Apple TV app. Membership also includes a complimentary subscription to the digital Screencasts Online monthly magazine, published each month and packed with videos, articles, reviews, as well as hints and tips covering all aspects of the Mac, iPad, iPhone, and all of the other fantastic Apple products. So, if you're ready to start getting the most out of your Apple devices, visit screencastsonline.com today and become a Screencasts Online member.